I knew something was wrong the night my wife started locking the bathroom door to answer phone calls. Before that, Emma had never hidden anything from me. At least that was what I believed. We had been married for 7 years, lived in a small but beautiful house on the edge of town, and every Sunday my parents came over for dinner like we were some perfect family from a magazine. My mother loved Emma. Sometimes I thought she loved her more than she loved me. "She's the best thing that ever happened to you, Daniel," my mom used to say, smiling at Emma across the table. And Emma would smile back, sweet and innocent, like she hadn't been texting another man under that same table. I didn't know his name at first. All I had were the little things. The sudden password on her phone. The late nights at work. The new perfume she wore when she said she was just going grocery shopping. The way she stopped looking me in the eyes when she said, "I love you." I tried to ignore it because that is what men like me are taught to do. Provide. Stay calm. Don't be insecure. Don't make problems where there aren't any. But your gut knows before your mind accepts it. One Friday night, Emma told me she was going out with her friend Melissa. She kissed my cheek, grabbed her purse and walked out wearing the black dress I had bought her for our anniversary. I stood by the window and watched her car leave the driveway. Then I called Melissa. She answered on the third ring, cheerful and confused. "Hey Daniel. Everything okay?" "Yeah," I said slowly. "Just wanted to ask what time you and Emma might be back tonight." There was a pause. A small pause. But it was enough. "Emma?" Melissa said. "I haven't talked to Emma today." My hand tightened around the phone. I thanked her, hung up, and stood in the dark living room for a long time. That was the moment my marriage ended. Not legally. Not officially. But inside me something closed forever. I didn't yell. I didn't call Emma. I didn't drive around town like a madman looking for her car. I waited. At 1:17 a.m. she came home. Her makeup was different. Her hair was messy in a way the wind didn't cause. She smelled like expensive cologne that wasn't mine. She froze when she saw me sitting at the kitchen table. "Daniel," she said, placing a hand on her chest. "You scared me." "Melissa said she didn't see you tonight." Her face changed for half a second. Then the performance began. "Oh my God." She laughed nervously. "You called Melissa? Seriously? Where were you?" "With people from work." "You said Melissa." "I changed plans." "At what time?" She rolled her eyes. "I don't know." "Why are you interrogating me?" That was Emma's gift. She could turn any question into an attack. Any lie into my problem. "I'm asking because you lied. And I'm asking why my husband is acting like a detective." I looked at her, really looked at her. The woman I had trusted with my home, my name, my future. "Are you cheating on me?" She slapped me. Not hard enough to hurt my face, but hard enough to tell me the truth. "How dare you?" she whispered. Then she started crying. And somehow by Sunday dinner I was the villain. My parents came over like usual. My younger sister Rachel came too. Emma cooked roast chicken. She wore soft makeup, a pale sweater, and the wounded expression of a woman who had been wrongfully accused. Halfway through dinner she put down her fork and started trembling. My mother immediately reached for her hand. "Sweetheart, what's wrong?" Emma looked at me with tears in her eyes. "I can't do this anymore," she whispered. The whole table went silent. I stared at her. "Emma," I said carefully, "don't." But she did. She told them I had become paranoid. That I checked on her. That I accused her of terrible things. That she felt watched in her own home. My mother turned to me like she didn't recognize me. "Daniel, is this true?" "She lied about where she was Friday night," I said. Emma covered her face. "See? This is what I mean." My father put his fork down. "Son," he said in that disappointed voice only a father can use, "you don't treat your wife like property." I almost laughed. Property? I had spent years working overtime so Emma could finish her design courses. I paid off her car. I helped her mother with medical bills. I never once asked where the money went when she wanted something for herself. But now I was the controlling husband. "I'm not treating her like property," I said. "I'm asking why she lied." Rachel crossed her arms. "Maybe because she's scared of how you react." That one hurt. Rachel and I had been close since childhood. I helped raise her after our dad lost his job for a while. I paid her college deposit when my parents couldn't. I fixed her car twice. I was the one she called at 2 a.m. when life fell apart. And now she looked at me like I was dangerous. Emma cried harder. My mother moved from her chair to sit beside her. "It's okay, honey," Mom said, rubbing Emma's back. "You're safe here. Safe. In my house. From me." I stood up. Unbelievable. My father pointed at me. "Sit down." "No. Daniel." "No," I said louder. "You all came into my house, listened to my wife lie to your faces, and decided I'm the problem without asking one real question." Emma lifted her face, eyes red and shining. "Why would I lie?" she whispered. I looked at her. "Because I loved you, I thought. Because I trusted you. Because you knew they would believe your tears before they believed my silence. But I didn't say any of that. I just walked out. That night, I slept in my truck behind an old gas station because I couldn't stand being in that house with her. The next morning, my phone had 23 missed calls. Most were from my mother. The messages were worse. "Mom, you need to apologize to Emma. Dad, you embarrassed this family. Rachel, I can't believe you became this kind of man. Emma, please don't make this worse. Just come home and we can talk." But there was one message that changed everything. It came from an unknown number. A photo. Emma walking into a hotel with a man in a gray coat. The message under it said, "You deserve to know." I sat in my truck, staring at that picture until the screen dimmed. Then I started to laugh. Not because it was funny. Because if I didn't laugh, I was going to break. The man in the photo was not a stranger. His name was Mark Ellison. He owned a small real estate company in town. Married. 2 kids. The kind of man who shook your hand too firmly and called every woman darling. I had met him once at a charity event. Emma introduced him as a client. A client. I saved the photo. Then I called the number. No answer. I texted back, "Who is this?" 3 dots appeared. Then vanished. A minute later, another message arrived. "Check the Lakeside Hotel. Room 214. Thursdays." That was all. For 3 weeks I said nothing. I became calm. Too calm. Emma noticed. My parents noticed. Everyone thought I had accepted that I was wrong. I apologized to Emma in front of my family because I wanted them to relax. "I let my insecurity get the best of me," I said. My mother cried with relief. Emma hugged me like she had won. And while her arms were around my neck, I was already planning the end. I hired a private investigator. His name was Grant. Former police officer. Quiet man. Gray beard. No nonsense. "You sure you want to know everything?" he asked when we met in a diner 40 minutes outside town. "Yes. Most people say that until they see it. I need proof." He nodded. "Then I'll get it." And he did. Photos. Dates. Hotel receipts. Restaurant meetings. Messages Emma thought she had deleted. Bank statements showing charges from places she claimed she had never been. But the worst part was not the cheating. The worst part was the plan. Grant discovered Emma had already spoken to a divorce lawyer. She wasn't just cheating. She was preparing to leave me and take as much as she could. The house. Savings. Part of my business. She had told people I was emotionally unstable. Controlling. Unpredictable. She was building a story. And my family was helping her write it. My mother started calling Emma, our daughter, on social media. Rachel posted a quote about women surviving toxic marriages. My father told my uncle that I had changed, and he didn't know what happened to me. Everyone chose their side before the truth ever entered the room. So I gave them what they wanted. I moved out. Emma acted shocked when I packed my bags. "Daniel, what are you doing?" "Giving you space," I said. Her eyes narrowed. "What does that mean?" "It means I'm done being the monster in your story." She followed me to the door. "You can't just leave." I turned around. For the first time in weeks I smiled. "Watch me." I rented a small apartment above a closed bakery on the old side of town. The pipes rattled. The heater barely worked. The bedroom window overlooked an alley. But it was quiet. No lies. No fake tears. No family dinners where everyone looked at me like I was guilty of a crime Emma committed. Then I called a lawyer. Not Emma's kind of lawyer. A real one. Her name was Vivian Cole. She was in her 50s, sharp as glass, and had the kind of stare that made liars forget their own names. She reviewed the file Grant gave me without speaking for almost 10 minutes. Then she looked up. "Your wife is either very confident," Vivian said, "or very stupid." "Which one?" "Both." For the first time in months I felt something close to hope. Vivian explained everything. The evidence. The timeline. The financial protections. What to move. What not to touch. What to say. What never to say. Do not fight emotionally, she told me. Fight clean. Fight organized. Fight with proof. So I did. While Emma played the victim, I became invisible. I separated my business accounts properly. I documented every payment. I stopped paying for Emma's personal expenses that were not legally required. I let her think I was weak. And then, on a rainy Tuesday morning, she was served divorce papers. By noon my mother called. I didn't answer. Then my father. Then Rachel. Then Emma. Finally, I picked up when my mother called the 9th time. What have you done? She shouted. I filed for divorce. After everything that poor woman has been through? I looked out the apartment window at the rain sliding down the glass. Mom, you don't know what she's been through. I know she's been crying for weeks because of you. No, I said quietly. She's been crying because she got caught too late. There was silence. What does that mean? It means ask your daughter-in-law about Mark Ellison. My mother didn't speak. Then she said, you need to stop this. Stop what? This obsession. This revenge. You're destroying your marriage. No, Mom. Emma destroyed it. You just helped her hide the pieces. She gasped like I had struck her. How dare you speak to me like that? The same way you dared to choose her before hearing me. Then I hung up. That evening, Emma came to my apartment. I didn't let her in. She stood in the hallway wearing a beige coat, mascara running down her cheeks. Daniel, please, she whispered. We need to talk. No, we don't. You're making a mistake. I leaned against the doorframe. The mistake was believing you. Her face hardened for a second. The tears stopped. There she was. The real Emma. You think you can ruin me? She asked. No, I said. You did that yourself. She stepped closer. Your family will never believe you. I nodded slowly. You're probably right. That seemed to satisfy her. Then I added, but the court will. Her face went pale. For the first time, Emma looked afraid. Not sad. Not offended. Afraid. The divorce took 8 months. 8 long months of lies, accusations, fake breakdowns, and family pressure. My parents refused to speak to me unless I apologized. Rachel sent me a message saying, you'll regret losing all of us. I replied with only one sentence. I already lost you when you chose her. After that, I blocked her. The truth came out quietly at first. Then all at once. Mark's wife found out. Emma's lawyers saw the evidence and suddenly wanted to settle. The hotel records matched the dates. The messages matched the receipts. The financial claims Emma made started falling apart. By the end, she got far less than she expected. She didn't get my business. She didn't get the house free and clear. She didn't get to walk away as the innocent victim. And my family? They heard the truth. Not from me. From everyone else. That was the best part. People started talking. Small towns love a scandal, especially when the victim turns out to be the liar. My mother called one night. I stared at the screen until it stopped ringing. Then came a message. Mom, we need to talk. We didn't know. I deleted it. Dad, son, things were confusing. Call me. Deleted. Rachel, I'm sorry. I should have listened. Deleted. For the first time in my life, I chose peace over explanation. 2 years passed. I sold the old house and moved 3 hours away. I rebuilt my company from a small contracting business into something bigger. Commercial renovations. Property investments. Then warehouses. Then land. I didn't become rich overnight. I worked. I worked like a man who had nothing left to lose. By 39, I owned 3 properties, a growing company, and a lake house I bought in cash. No family dinners. No fake smiles. No Emma. Just quiet mornings, strong coffee, and the kind of silence that heals you slowly. Then, one winter afternoon, my assistant walked into my office with an uncomfortable look on her face. Mr. Hayes, she said, there's someone here to see you. Who? She hesitated. Your father. I looked up. For a second, the room disappeared. I hadn't seen my father in almost 3 years. Not since he stood beside Emma in court and refused to look me in the eye. Did he say what he wants? I asked. My assistant swallowed. He said it's urgent. I almost told her to send him away. I should have. But curiosity is a dangerous thing. Let him in. A minute later, my father stepped into my office. He looked older. Much older. His shoulders were smaller. His coat was worn. His eyes carried something I had never seen in them before. Shame. Daniel, he said softly. I didn't stand. Dad. He looked around my office at the glass walls, the city view, the framed contracts, the quiet proof that I had survived without them. You've done well, he said. I leaned back in my chair. That's not why you came. He lowered his eyes. No. The silence stretched between us. Then he said the words I knew were coming before he even opened his mouth. We need your help. I almost smiled. Not because it was funny. Because life has a cruel sense of timing. My father cleared his throat. The house, your mother and I are behind on payments. Rachel's business failed. We tried to help her. Then your mother had some expenses and things got out of control. I said nothing. He took a step closer. We don't need much. Just enough to get stable. How much? He looked at the floor. $180,000. For a moment I just stared at him. $180,000. The same people who threw me out of their hearts were now standing in my office asking me to save them. My father finally looked at me. We're family, he said. And that was when something cold inside me woke up. Funny, I said quietly. I remember saying the same thing. Then I opened the drawer beside me. Inside was an old folder. Black. Worn at the edges. I placed it on the desk between us. My father's face changed. What is that? I tapped the folder once. The truth you didn't want to read 3 years ago. He swallowed. Daniel? You came here for my money, I said. But before you ask me for anything else, you're going to sit down and listen to what your family did to me. My father slowly sat across from me. For the first time in my life he looked smaller than me. And I opened the folder. My father stared at the black folder like it was something alive. For 3 years that folder had sat in my desk. Not because I needed it anymore. The divorce was over. Emma was gone. The court had already seen enough. Mark's wife had already taken her own revenge by making sure half the town knew what kind of man he really was. I kept the folder for one reason. Because one day I knew someone from my family would come back pretending they didn't understand what happened. And now my father was sitting across from me, asking for $180,000, with the same mouth that once told me I had embarrassed the family. I opened the folder. The first photo slid across my desk. Emma walking into the Lakeside Hotel with Mark Ellison. My father looked down at it, then away. No, I said. Look at it. His jaw tightened. Daniel, I know now. You don't know enough. I placed another photo on top of it. Then another. Hotel lobby. Restaurant booth. Parking garage. Phone records. Receipts. Dates. Times. Proof stacked neatly like bricks in a wall. My father's face slowly collapsed. For years he had probably imagined the truth as something small. A misunderstanding. A mistake. Maybe Emma had kissed another man. Maybe I had overreacted. Maybe everyone had been wrong but not cruel. But cruelty looks different when it has paperwork. She told us you were unstable, he whispered. I know. She said you scared her. I know. She said you watched her. Controlled her. I know. He closed his eyes. And we believed her. I leaned back. No. You wanted to believe her. His eyes opened. That's not fair. I laughed once. Nothing about it was warm. Fair? You walked into my house and treated me like a criminal because Emma cried at dinner. Rachel posted about toxic marriages before she ever asked me what happened. Mom called Emma her daughter while I slept in my truck behind a gas station. My father's face went pale. You slept in your truck? For 2 nights. Why didn't you come to us? I stared at him. Because you were the reason I left. He looked like I had hit him. Good. Some truths need to land hard. He reached for one of the papers then stopped, like he didn't have permission to touch my pain. Your mother didn't know, he said quietly. My mother didn't want to know. She loved Emma. She loved Emma more than her own son. That's not true. Then where was she? The question filled the office. My father had no answer. Because there wasn't one. I remembered every message. Every call. Every accusation. Every time they told me to apologize while Emma was meeting another man in hotel rooms. I remembered standing in that old apartment with broken heat, eating canned soup over the sink, wondering how a man could lose his wife and his entire family in the same month. I remembered the first Christmas alone. No tree. No dinner. No calls. Just snow outside the window and my phone face down on the table because I couldn't stand checking it anymore. And now they were back. Not because they missed me. Because they needed money. My father cleared his throat. Daniel, I'm not here to defend what we did. Then why are you here? He swallowed. Because we're desperate. There it was. The honest part. Not sorry. Desperate. I closed the folder. The sound made him flinch. $180,000, I said. He nodded slowly. The bank is moving forward. If we don't fix it soon, your mother and I lose the house. The same house I helped repair for free for years? He lowered his eyes. Yes. The same house where Mom told me I should be ashamed of myself? His voice broke. Yes. The same house where Rachel brought Emma after the divorce papers were filed because she said Emma needed family? He said nothing. I stood and walked to the window. The city moved below me. Cars. People. Lives going forward like nothing mattered. For a long time I had imagined this moment. I imagined yelling. I imagined throwing my father out. I imagined writing a check then tearing it in half. But when the moment finally came, I felt strangely calm. That was the thing about healing. Real healing didn't make you loud. It made you unreachable. Where is Emma now? I asked. My father looked confused. What? Emma. Since everyone chose her, I assume she's helping. His face twisted with shame. She left town. With Mark? No. Mark's wife took him for everything. His company collapsed. Emma moved somewhere in Arizona, I think. She doesn't speak to us anymore. I turned from the window. So the daughter you chose disappeared when you had nothing left to offer. My father looked down at his hands. Daniel? Did Mom ask you to come? He hesitated. That was answer enough. I smiled faintly. She didn't even have the courage to come herself. She's ashamed. No. She's afraid I'll say no. My father's silence confirmed it. I walked back to my desk and sat down. Does Rachel know you're here? He nodded. She wanted to come too. Why didn't she? She thought you wouldn't see her. She was right. My father rubbed his face. I know you hate us. No, I said. That's the part none of you understand. I don't hate you anymore. He looked up, surprised. I did for a while. I hated all of you. I hated Mom for choosing Emma. I hated Rachel for turning my pain into a public quote. I hated you for looking at me like I was less of a man because my wife lied better than I defended myself. My voice stayed calm. But hate takes energy. And eventually, I realized I was still feeding people who had already starved me. My father's eyes filled with tears. I'm sorry, he whispered. I looked at him for a long moment. Those words should have meant something. 3 years earlier, I would have given anything to hear them. Now they sounded late. Not fake. Just late. I believe you're sorry, I said. He breathed out like that saved him. But sorry doesn't cost $180,000. His face fell again. I pulled a blank sheet of paper from my drawer. I'm not giving you cash. He opened his mouth, but I raised a hand. I'm not finished. He closed it. I'll pay for a financial attorney to review your situation. I'll pay that attorney directly. I'll also pay for a proper accountant to examine Rachel's business mess, because I'm guessing she dragged you into debt without understanding what she was doing. My father looked ashamed. She tried to start a boutique. And you used your house as security. He didn't answer. Of course they had. I will not give Rachel money, I said. Not $1. I will not hand Mom a check.